It's back. Just two. John Stanko here with Kevin Bartnett for our last show of the semester. It's your last show here at WICR. Forever. It's a sentimental moment for you, I'm sure.
Always.
My last show's tomorrow morning. It'll be emotional for me as well.
Yes, good guy to share it with, though. Obviously.
It's been a great year.
I like how we had the nice at the beginning. We had the nice little night at the Roxbury moment right
there.
Yeah,
you can't help but just do the head nod. You just can't help it.
You know what I'm talking about. Shout out to my man Will Ferrell on that one. Great. That's one of the classics. But
it is true.
It's been a great year though so far though. That being said, we have business to discuss, though.
We do. In case you didn't notice, this episode is going to have a theme. It's going to be all NFL. Kevin Bartnett is in heaven right now because NFL draft has been ever since Sunday. It's just been nonstop ESPN mock drafts everywhere. Kevin's living his dream. And today we are going to do a mock draft of the first round. Kevin is going to give his insight as to what he believes each team should pick, the surprises, the big questions. So I guess we got to start off with number one. We got to start off, what's going to happen with the number one pick, the Houston Texans? Are they going to trade it? Are they going to keep it? What do you think's going to happen at number one, Kevin?
Well, I'm just going to be clear here. I don't predict trades ever happening because you don't know what's actually going to happen. Some people say they want to trade out, they want to move down, they want to move up. Mm-hmm. Nobody knows what actually happens until it actually happens. Nobody can say this is going to happen. Because if it's going to happen, it would happen already. They would just trade the picks already. That's why. Like, these teams that want to trade down, wait until the last minute to see the best offer. So if this team really was desperate to trade down, they would have done it. They would do it and stuff like that. That's why I never mock it. So that's why I'm just going to say if Houston, all these picks are going to stay the same, no trades will happen. That's just the point I was making. So, but I think Houston, number one, it should be a no-brainer for them. And that should be Jadeveon Clowney at number one. Just picture, all I could just say is picture for the next 4 to 5 years, him and J.J. Watt on the same defensive line. This kid has been a stud since they said he could have been a first-round pick coming out of high school.
And that's scary.
With how good he has been. I believe that there's been a lot of questions about his commitment issues, but I think if he's really saving his body for the NFL, which apparently his coach at South Carolina told him to do. It's very hard, obviously, but apparently there was rumors. There were some of his teammates saying the coaches said, hey, you got to save up save the body for the NFL. But it's no question. This kid is all-world talent. He's been one of the most talked about defensive prospects, I think, since Mario Williams came out.
Agreed.
In 2006, who coincidentally was also drafted by the Houston Texans. Exactly. So I think this should be a no-doubt pick who the Texans should take, number one.
Outside linebacker from South Carolina, you have Jadeveon Clowney going number one to the Houston Texans. I find it interesting because I agree with you, J.J. Watt and Clowney. Going against Andrew Luck for the foreseeable future, you got to combat Andrew Luck, who's probably going to be the best quarterback in the NFL eventually, with those two outside pass rushers. A great way to do it. And also, between outside linebacker coach Mike Vrabel, you have someone who was disciplined in the Patriots system. I believe he won a championship with the Patriots as well. He was with the Chiefs, so he'll bring some structure to Jadeveon Clowney, I believe. So I agree with you. If Houston is number one, I agree with you. They are going to take Jadeveon Clowney.
And yes, they need a quarterback, but I also think that because if you can get a guy like Andy, there's a worse thing as well. Have a guy like Andy Dalton as your quarterback. Plenty of teams would kill to have Andy Dalton as their quarterback
until he gets to the playoffs.
Yeah, he hasn't gotten it done in the playoffs, but some of these teams like Cleveland would kill to even sniff the playoffs.
Yes.
So if you can snag a guy like that in the second round, you got to take Clowney.
Agreed. Now,
gotta take Clowney.
What are your takes on some of the rumors that maybe the Texans wanting to trade down to maybe draft someone like a Blake Bortles, maybe, who would fit the system that they want to play? What are your thoughts on that?
It wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. Blake Bortles, I think, could play. I think the guy can play Blake Bortles, so I don't think that'd be the worst thing in the world. I just think that when you have when you have this rare opportunity to get Clowney and J.J. Watt playing on the same line. J.J. Watt, who's already won a Defensive Player of the Year in one of his 3 seasons. He only played 3 years in the league, so he's still very, very young. When you get this rare opportunity, you have to jump at it, I think.
All right, so Kevin Barnett's got Jadeveon Clowney going number one to the Houston Texans, the first pick of the mock draft. Let's go to the second pick. The St. Louis Rams getting their pick from the Washington Redskins via a trade. They are at the number 2 spot. They're a team that doesn't have any immediate glaring needs, I feel, but they still have a little bit of holes to fill. Where do you see them going with number 2 picks?
See, I think a lot of people have mocked the great offensive tackle Greg Robinson of the Rams, but they don't have a problem at offensive tackle, I really don't think. I think they gave Roger Saffold a decent amount of money to play right tackle. And then they still, I know Jake Long's injury prone, but Jake Long, let's not forget when he's healthy, he's one of the best left tackles in football.
Agreed.
He had a little bit of a down year last year, but he played in Miami for like about 4 or 5 seasons. I think guys always had to struggle with a new team, a new system. This guy's had a year, though. Even though he got hurt last year, he still had a year to learn the playbook and everything. I think he's going to come back motivated. So, therefore, I think their biggest need, though, is a secondary and wide receiver. And I think that, truth be told, I don't think that they're staying at number 2.
You think St. Louis is going to trade?
I think they're going to trade out. I can't predict who's going to trade up to do this.
Agreed.
Though.
Okay,
I can't predict it.
No, it's fair.
So
it's fair.
I think that they already have. They realize, hey, we also have the 13th pick. We can get another need with this. But if I'm number 2, I would stay at number 2, and I would draft Sammy Watkins, wide receiver from Clemson. They drafted Tavon Austin last year. But let's face it, Tavon Austin at best is a slot receiver.
He is a slot receiver.
A very good slot.
He's a slot receiver. Yeah,
a very good slot receiver is the ceiling. He's not on the outside. A guy who can play on the outside. Sammy Watkins, when I watched him play in that Orange Bowl against Ohio State, against Bradley Roby, who I have projected to go in the first round later, won't say what team.
Okay.
He had 16 catches for I don't know how many yards, and like 3 or 4 touchdowns in the game. Sammy Watkins' stock flew up. Do I think he's on the level of guys like A.J. Green, Calvin Johnson? No, but he's the ceiling under the. He's like the class right under them, I believe, when it came to the NFL draft wide receivers.
I'll tell you this: I think that of all like maybe the first 5 picks, I think Sammy Watkins has the best chance to make an immediate impact.
I agree absolutely.
I think he might have the best chance to be the best player coming out. I really do, because I think he's that talented. If he goes to the right team, I think he can flourish immediately. And I think St. Louis would be one of those teams with Sam Bradford wanting to come back after injury last year, wanting to prove himself. Tavon Austin, another season under his belt. You hope that he could take a step up. And let's face it, the Rams, I think, surprised people with their defense last year. They have a good defense.
Well, Robert Quinn.
So they'll be in games.
Robert Quinn was one of the most, did not get a lot of love last year. Forgot 19 sacks. And Chris Long is a stud on the defensive end, so. And then James Laurinaitis leading that defense is also a very, very good player in the middle, so. I think they need help on safety, but they also have a number 13 pick, and we'll get to that later. So,
all right. Well, you got Sammy Watkins going number 2 to St. Louis after Jadeveon Clowney going number 1.
You agree with that, Mr. Stanko?
I think they're going to go Greg Robinson. I really do. I see that every single expert is picking them for the most part, and I got to agree with it. You are by far more the NFL draft expert than I am.
Right.
But I think that they could shore up their offensive line, because I think that they're worried Sam Bradford is fragile, which he is. They think they're going to do everything they can to protect him, because I think this is the year he's going to prove whether they're going to keep him and they believe in him for the future, or whether he's gone.
Right. Yeah,
I think this is the year,
this is a do or die
and I
year
think
for
they're going to
Sam
set him up to try and do well with this offensive lineman. That's what I think.
That's what I would give him the extra weapon for, though, which he hasn't. He's had a lack of. He has had a right. He hasn't really had too many good weapons. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's go number 3, the Jacksonville Jaguars, new owner. They're going to look to make a splash. They are at the number 3 pick. Who do you see them picking?
I don't think as much as I like Blake Bortles, I've heard that they're not really fans of him. This is from what I heard from everybody. So then if I'm them, I'd go with the best player on the board, because they have so many needs all around. All around, I think they have incredible needs. So for them, I'd go who the best player on the board is, because then this person, whoever, in a loaded draft, it can go right and play right. And that's Khalil Mack, the outside linebacker from Buffalo. Not even question mark. Fills the need for them. And Gus Bradley. Gus Bradley did a good job with this team last year. Started out 0-8, and then they won 4. Then they won 4 the next 8 games. And the team that had like almost literally, it seemed like no talent on the roster whatsoever. I think they'll draft a quarterback in the second round, maybe even trade in the first round to get one. Maybe later in the first round. I don't know. Maybe with your New England Patriots, who trade all the time out of the first round.
It's true.
No,
we're pros at it.
Yes.
Yeah. No.
They are very. They are very like they. I think they could see them doing something like that. But if I'm them, I think Khalil Mack is a guy you got to get. He'll fill a need of your defense for years to come.
Yeah, Khalil Mack, a very, very talented outside linebacker from Buffalo. He really rose up the rankings as this entire offseason went on, and now people are saying he is one of the best players, if not the best defensive player in the draft. I agree with you. I think that they have a lot of holes to fill, and I think they're not going to have a winning record this season. It's fair to say, but I think Khalil Mack is someone that maybe they're hoping could be like a Luke Kuechly, a young defensive player who can galvanize a defense and have an immediate impact. Granted, he might not have as many tackles as Luke Kuechly because he's a magnet for the football that BC graduate is.
Absolutely.
But I agree with you. Khalil Mack to the Jacksonville Jaguars does make sense.
Yes,
I do agree with you. Now to the interesting pick, number 4, the Cleveland Browns. There's been a lot of skepticism around this pick,
and I'm going right into the skepticism.
You are diving right in, Kevin. Who are the Cleveland Browns taking at the number 4 pick?
Johnny Manziel.
They are taking Johnny Football.
And you know what? With Cleveland, this is a pick I think you kind of have to make in a weird way. I think because no matter what, I think Blake Bortles is the best quarterback in this draft, but I think Manziel can be. I think Manziel could be a really good player. I mean, the thing that scares me a little bit obviously is his size, but this kid has shown the ability to do anything. The running around stuff he's not going to get away with in the pros.
No, not to the same extent.
I mean, you do that against the Baltimore Ravens, Pittsburgh Steelers, they're just going to hit you right in the mouth. Those are the kind of teams that he's going to go up against.
Or Seattle. Imagine Seattle.
Yeah, well, yeah, he plays in the. I'm just saying because he'll be playing.
Exactly. He'll be playing in the
division,
division,
yes.
but a tough defense
I think
like that.
with
Yeah.
Cleveland though, this team has been struggling. They are a quarterback away from being a good football team.
That's my thing. They're a talented team.
They are a They got a great. Josh Gordon put up those numbers last year with 3 different quarterbacks.
Exactly.
Who struggled mightily last year.
Yep.
Cleveland. I know they just signed Vince. Vince Young is not the answer. I think Vince Young is good enough to be on a team. He's not the answer though. But I think that Cleveland, they've just been craving for like a franchise quarterback. When they drafted Brandon Weeden in the first round 2 years ago, I was never more mind blown by it.
I don't understand that either. He was 28 years old, right?
He was going to be 29 as a rookie.
Exactly.
Why would you spend a first round pick on him?
No, I didn't get it either.
And so then I just think that right now, and also Cleveland is a very unattractive market for a lot of people. I think you get Johnny Football there. It brings this team has been craving attention.
You're gonna get media there in Cleveland if you get Johnny Football. Guaranteed.
They get enough attention from the fans. They do very well with the fans. They are the fans' team.
They're very dedicated to their team.
I mean, they are incredible fans, Cleveland. I don't know
how. Dog pound.
I don't know how they sell out every game still. I mean, I don't know how, but this is a team that would bring, I think, kind of credibility to this team for once, though. It seems like.
I agree with you. I think they are going to go Johnny Football
and
because they need to make
too.
a splash. It does feel a need. It does feel a need. Did you ever see the movie Draft Day with Kevin Costner?
I did not, actually. I've been wanting to see it.
It is very good. I do recommend it, and you'll eat it up because you love this.
Yes.
It's very, very good.
I have heard that some actual former GMs were on set and everything. See, they got they were kind of consultants.
Yeah.
They weren't officially producers, but they were producers. See if this actually goes down in the draft room. So.
Yeah, and Arian Foster makes a nice little cameo as a small character as well.
So Chadwick Boseman was one of the stars too.
Yeah.
Guy who played Jackie Robinson. So
yeah, there you go. Also now, the one thing I want to mention with Johnny Football is that according to Fox Sports Radio today, there was breaking news saying the Cleveland Browns will not draft Johnny Manziel from Jay Glazer, who was a very credible,
very good,
very good.
I think the best at his job, better than Schefter. I think.
Ian Rapport from NFL says the Rams had interesting meeting with Johnny Manziel at the Combine, kicked everyone out besides GM Jeff Fisher and Manziel. That was the Rams. They kicked everyone out except for that. That was back on May 5th. But then Adam Schefter tweets out, Mortensen reports he expects the Browns to snap up quarterback Johnny Manziel with the number 4 pick if he's still there. And that's Adam Schefter, who's also very credible.
Good, very credible.
Exactly. Now, that's why it's so mind-boggling to me with this pick, because no one seems to have a read on it. While everyone seems to expect Jadeveon Clowney number 1, this is the next controversial pick, I think, because if you have these experts like Jay Glazer and Adam Schefter, Chris Mortensen all disagreeing with each other, how can you really know what to go with?
This stuff always surfaces when it comes to the NFL draft. It always gets around. People make up they'll make up stuff. It seems like it always happens. It just does. I don't know why. It just seems like it always happens to happen now.
Yeah. So I mean, it's just a very interesting concern. I'm interested to see what they're going to do with the pick. I mean, what could they do maybe besides a number 4? That if they don't go Johnny Football, no, I agree with you. They're going to go Johnny Football. I do agree with you, but if they don't, who could you see them going with? What holes do they need to fill besides quarterback in your mind?
I think a guy opposite Josh Gordon could maybe Mike Evans, or they
Texas A&M
can always
wide
use
receiver.
Offensive linemen to improve. I know they just lost Alex Mack, even though he's a center. I think if they can get offensive linemen to improve that O line.
What about? I know now. The thing they need is running backs, but they're not going to pick a first-round running back because there's no one of that talent in the first round, especially that high. So that's another thing that I think people are looking at that they can improve on. They traded away Trent Richardson, which right now is looking like a great trade.
Yes.
So
they have the extra first-round pick this year.
Exactly. So it's just interesting to see what the Browns are going to do at number 4. I'm really interested. Honestly, I'm more interested at this number 4 pick than the number 1 because I fully expect Jadeveon Clowney to go number 1. At this number 4 pick, I'm really intrigued to see what the Browns do.
I am too. I'm very intrigued.
All right. Now, before we take a break, we'll close out the top 5, and we'll do our 5th pick. The Oakland Raiders will be on the clock. They're a team that needs a quarterback. They need a wide receiver. They need offensive line. They need a lot of help. Who do you see them going with at number 5?
I think that right now that they just always seem to get like the sexiest player on the board for some reason.
Yeah.
That's what a lot of NFL guys like. I know it's sexy, you know. I think they're going Mike Evans. They desperately need a wide receiver.
They do.
They need one really bad. And you know what? As some people might call it a little bit of a reach, but if Mike Evans is a projected top 10 pick, how much of a reach really is it then? It fills a huge need for them. It seems like they have nobody for Matt Schaub to throw the ball to. So this fills a huge need, I think. And then if they get a young quarterback, maybe I think they already screwed up bringing back Darren McFadden.
I agree. They should have got Rashad Jennings.
Yes.
So your Giants snatched him up. I think great signing for you. I think the Raiders should have snatched him up.
Yes. I think that right now that Mike Evans feels a huge need for them. I don't think that that's the best place for him to go. I think because Dennis Allen is going to be maybe a year out of a job. Will be out of a job by the end of this year, maybe before the year's over. Because they always find a way to disappoint somehow, the Oakland Raiders. So. But I think need-wise, just makes it too much sense. I think offensive tackle they do go, but it seems like they never go offensive tackle in the first round. Because the last time they took one, Robert Gallery was a huge bust.
Yeah. So again, offensive tackle and wide receiver are their 2 top needs in my mind. And at the number 2 pick, I had Greg Robinson. You had Sammy Watkins. So for me, Sammy Watkins is still on the board. And if you're Oakland, how sexy is it to get the best wide receiver in the draft?
Sammy Watkins.
Well, with that said, you don't have a quarterback you can fully trust to throw it to him, so you do waste a wide receiver pick doing that.
They did just trade for Schaub, so...
I mean, but Schaub last year, you saw, did not have that good of a season.
He did not, but I think they had a press conference and everything saying, hey, you're our guy, you're our guy.
The other option I'm thinking of is Jake Matthews, offensive tackle at Texas A&M. He was seen as the number 2 pick for a long time. He's fallen down a little bit, but I could maybe see if Oakland decides to go the non-sexy route, picking up Jake Matthews. But the way the Raiders pick, I think they're going to go with the big name. They're going to get their fans excited. I see them drafting Sammy Watkins at 5.
Really?
I do. That's what I see happening.
Okay, I think Watkins would go number 2, but yeah, I mean obviously that's why we are co-hosts.
We agree to disagree.
Yes.
All right, we'll take a short break here on WICR. This is the BS Report. We're doing our mock draft, the NFL draft, this upcoming Thursday, set for 8 p.m. We'll be back right after this break.